Yeah, please share your screen. What are the things you found? Let me see.
So I was going through this about the governor limits
Yes.
and looking into like these all these numbers that are there for like synchronous or asynchronous limits. But this is like just I guess one section of it, like
Yes.
pre-transaction apex limits.
Yes. So per transaction limit is there. So you can see synchronous limit and asynchronous. Okay. Just go little down. Yeah. So here you can see total number of SQL queries issued is 100. That means total 100 query you can fire. So now in a one transaction. So what happens? So if you put your query inside your for loop, then what will happen? Every time the for loop will execute, it will execute or fire a query. So that will count as 1, 2, 3, 4, the number of times the for loop executes, the query will also get executed. So we want to avoid it, right? That's why we did not write our query inside for loop. We wrote it outside it. Now, when we talk about asynchronous, so we will talk about asynchronous Apex in later classes. Then you will all able to understand it. Okay. So you can understand now, first of all, from the SOQL queries, you got it. The query which you are writing is SOQL. So we need to be specific. We need not write any extra query which is not required. And first of all, we should avoid the writing the query as much as possible. Now, there are multiple things. So SQL and SSL. So scroll down. So maximum CPU timeout. So how much time your transaction is taking for the execution. So if you are writing multiple for loops, multiple logic you have written, complex logic if you have written, and which is calling multiple different classes or different methods for the execution, or if it is going on recursion, right? Because there are many situations where mistakenly the developer writes a code which calls the same code multiple times. So we should also think about it and avoid it, because there is also CPU time limit. Okay. So you will be able to understand these all things once you go on later classes. This is just initial phase, but you should be aware of it. So let's get back to our progress, what we were doing in our classes. One more thing I asked, right? Asking this governor limits, and one more thing I asked, what was the another thing?
Best practices.
Yes. So did you get? Yeah. So
I was looking into it.
yeah. So bulkify your code. That means you should always consider multiple records for your code. The thing which we were doing, like we were updating the list. We were not updating a single record, right? You could update single record. You can write one record, and before that is whatever you are fetching. Before that, you can put the update, but that will be like updating one by one. But we want to avoid it because we also have number of DML operation in a transaction. So to avoid it, we use generally list or map. So whenever we were updating, we were using list, and prior to that, we were using, just before that, we were putting the update operation. So scroll down. So here what he is doing, go up, go up. Okay, go down. This is just one example which he has given. Okay, scroll down. So avoid DML SOQL queries in loops, which we avoided, right?
Right.
Update or delete, they come under DML operation. So we have avoided, we put update after for loop only, right? We did it. So unknowingly, you are following the best practices. Okay. Now avoid hard-coded IDs. So there are people who write the ID of any record in your code, but we should avoid that because that might fail it when in future, if there is any change on, if the record is deleted or something happens. Now explicitly declare sharing model. So when you are writing a class, we have not touched it yet. We will see it in later classes. So there are things like the user can have access on certain things, right? Which we have seen in security. Like someone can have access on object, field level security, object level security, record level security we did. Now we want to also impose the same thing on classes as well. Because by default, the classes run in system mode. That means you can say that every access is there in the class, Apex class, if directly you are running. But if you want, like only the person who is having access to those records, that can be imposed in our particular Apex class execution, then we use a sharing model. So it's nothing but with sharing, without sharing. So we'll see this in later classes as well. Yeah. So we have not started using trigger. So trigger, if you are aware about database concepts, so in database, you have triggers on every table. Similarly, we can have triggers on every object. So we'll see it in later classes. The next topic is for this only. We are going to start the same thing on. Yeah, go down. SOQL for loops, which I was saying that we should avoid writing query inside for loop because that comes under governor limit as well. Yeah, you should modularize your code because that will help you to reuse the code. Okay, go down. So we have not written any test scenario yet, but yes, whenever you write any Apex class, any trigger, so you should also write test classes for that, which which contains all the scenarios which can be there, whether it's positive or negative. Both the scenario should be covered using test classes. And Salesforce imposed one restriction that if the coverage of your classes or triggers are not 75% in any org, then you cannot deploy the code. So it's the overall coverage which should be 75% if you want to deploy any code in production. For development, they give you the flexibility to deploy it without classes, but for production, you must have 75% of code coverage. Without that, you cannot deploy your code in production. So you should think about that as well. Yeah, please go down. Avoid nested loop, which you are referring, right? Naming convention, we have started like capital and small, like capital letters start for any class, and that should be any noun or something, which can help you to identify for what purpose you are writing the class or the method, right? The variable should be declared with small letter. Now, next is avoid business logic in triggers. So we should write the logic in the method of the class only. Trigger should only be there that this is the event for which we are going to call that particular method or something. We are not going to write any logic inside a trigger so that it can be reused. Yeah, go down. So that is related to lightning components. Yeah, so when someone does the integration, these all things happen, JSON format and something. We'll see that in later classes. Go on. So JSON is related to your, whenever you go for any integration, the two system, if they are connecting through REST API, they understand JSON. So using which they share the information from one system. Like if you want to send information from Salesforce to SAP system, then the SAP system does not know Apex or whatever SAP language is used. Salesforce does not know, but both of them, they know the common things, which is the JSON. So in JSON format, we share the information from Salesforce to SAP so that SAP can understand and work on it. So we'll see it when we'll work on integration. Okay. So now, I think Cherry was pending for some of the topic, right?
Hi, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah, Jerry.
Come again. I didn't hear what you said.
So you are in same place where others are, right? Have you done all the steps which Sonakshi was telling? And Sonakshi, I think you have covered everything, na? For Jerry, which we have already done.
Yeah, now.
Yes, Shan.
Yeah,
Or
now.
is there anything which is pending?
No, I guess we did. Only the latest portion of the latest portion which we were doing. I don't know if, but I guess we tried earlier in different class that same topic with Jerry. So we did it in his system. So I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start. So next is, you have seen, I asked you to create for the delete one, right? We did the update, but did you try delete?
No, I did not try, Shan.
So please go ahead and try. And I think Jerry has done the update operation, right? Jerry, were you able to do update operation?
I watched the video. I can do it now. So let's do the deletes.
Okay. Okay, then please go ahead and do delete operation. Please open developer console and perform delete operation.
One second, I will share it again. Because earlier I was opening developer console. I don't know why. So Shan, I cannot delete it. Like I need to fetch like some record to delete it. Because this will give me a list. I cannot put the delete inside for loop. And the delete should be outside.
So delete should always be outside. So first of all, you do not want to delete all the records, right?
Right.
You want to delete only some specific records. So first of all, put limit on your query, limit one or two, maximum one or two records you can should delete. Now you are printing the job application record. So it will give you the ID so that you can check which record was deleted. And delete operation was performed after for loop. So outside for loop, you are going to put it. So after that, yeah, right? Delete and the list. So copy the list. Yeah, name job app list. That's it. Execute it. Now go to your org and search recycle bin or app on app launcher. Go to your org. App launcher, search recycle bin. You will see your deleted record over here. Okay. So these 4 records you have deleted now?
Right.
No, today you have deleted only 1 record. 13th
One.
is showing 1
One.
record. Yeah. And now from here you can also restore it. Now go and check the record and its ID, and go and check the ID which came in debug, if both are same or not. Not here. Go to debug log. Yeah, in debug log you printed that record, right? Before deleting. Yeah. Check the ID of this, whether it is same as which you deleted 007 or not.
Yeah, it was 007 only. It came here at the top.
Yes, yes. So now you got how you can delete, right? You can perform this for all the objects.
So it deleted both the records. I did limit 2. So
Yes, so this is coming on deleted records, right? In recycle bin. So this way you can delete the record as well, right? And if you want, you can restore, or else it will get permanently deleted after 15 days.
okay.
Now, if there are certain scenarios which give you some kind of exception, like you are writing a code which is having divide by 0, then there the execution fails. Okay, so now we want to handle the exception scenarios where some kind of error is coming, but we want, like, if directly this error comes, the application crashes and it just finishes its execution from that line. It does not execute other things. Okay, suppose your error comes on line number 54, then your other code will not get executed and it will throw the error to other systems or other classes or methods from where it is called. So we want to avoid it and we want to handle some kind of error scenarios. If you find that there are some possible errors which can come, like the divide by 0 when you are going with any kind of integration. So if the request is not coming on time, so request timeout is there, right? And if you are trying to access null values on a list, then it also gives null pointer exception. So there are multiple exceptions which you might face. So when you feel that there are certain scenarios which can give you errors, then you handle it using try and catch block. Okay. So write a new method, give it a name like a handle exception or anything. Let's see how it works. New method only, new class might not require.
Then I'll have it like in different
Anything you
sections.
can have. That's okay.
Okay. Yes, Shan. Do.
Now write a code where you are putting divide by 0. So you can write, yeah. So you got exception, right? You're getting exception.
Yes.
Okay. Go and open debug log. Because divided by 0 is an exception. Similarly, if you are trying to access any value from any list and the list is empty and it is null, then it will give you null pointer exception or other exception as well. So there are many scenarios where you need to handle these kind of exceptions. You can check filter exception or error. In filter, you can type error or exception. You are getting that system.math exception. Error, put it error. Why it is not giving? Okay, scroll down. What is that name? Yeah, you get fatal error. System exception, right? Divided by 0. So that kind of scenarios are there where you need to handle it. Now it is given you the exception. And check debug log, you might not get the debug log. Because just before debug log, that exception occurs. And write any debug log before dividing it by 0. Go back to your class. So yeah. And you will get these debug logs. Just before the exception is thrown, you will get the debug log. But the moment exception is thrown, after that, you will not execute any line. It will just give you the exception. Whatever line you write after exception, it will be not used. It will not run. Yeah, first one you will get, but after getting exception, you won't get any. And when you go in actual scenarios, you have hundreds of lines of code. And there are many situations where you need to handle that error. Now, how we can handle the error? So go back to the class and put your code inside try and catch block. Try, open curly bracket, yeah. Put your code inside that. And then catch. And here, whatever type of exception you are expecting. So here we are expecting math exception. Just copy the name of that exception from that debug log. Yeah, put. That will come inside a bracket, small bracket. Yeah. Remove your semicolon and put it with catch. It's a method you can say. And now put curly bracket. So here, if you want to put anything, so system.debug inside catch block. So whenever any exception occurs, especially the math exception occurs, the code will terminate from line number 10 and it will directly land to catch. So only in case of exception, the catch block or line number 14 will get executed. Okay. So you can write you are inside catch block in one debug log, you can write so that you can get that you are inside catch block. Put one more debug log, debug statement inside catch block, right? Inside catch block. Give it a variable name, math exception space E or any variable name. Not here, not here. Here you will write just inside catch block. Right inside catch block so that you know that you are inside catch block. Yeah. So in line number 12, we have written math exception space E. Line number 12. System.math exception you have written, then space E, give it a variable name. You can also put E or the variable name inside your debug log to get the full detail of it. So here you can just put system.debug exception E. Put exception and then give it plus E. What? E plus E1. Yeah. Now execute it. Save and execute it. Now you are getting it as a success. Even though the exception occurs, scroll down, you will see exception. No, scroll down. You will, yeah. Now in debug also you are going to get, but firstly scroll down and see whether exception occurred or not. So even though, see here you can see exception occurred, right? Even though the exception occurs, your code inside the catch block or whatever you write after catch block will get executed. So using try catch, you avoided the termination of the code. And what happens? Whatever is written after that particular code which is causing the exception inside try, that will only not get executed, but it will land to catch block when there is any exception. And it will execute rest of the code. So let's see how it works. So let's go back to your class. And it will, yeah, go and check debug log as well there. In your logs, check debug. What are the things you got inside your debug? Yeah. So exception you can get. So you cannot divide a number by 0 that you have put inside catch block you came, right? Exception, system.math exception, this exception you got, right? Now go back to your class. And put some lines of code like system.debug after in line number 11, so that you can understand how things are happening. Yeah. You go to line number 10 and put enter and then put system.debug. And your code of line number 19 got executed, right? You have seen result is 0, it was giving, right? Yes. So put anything on line number 11. Yeah. Now execute it. Exception occurred. Yes. You can get the details, but you will not get, you did not get that hello class because that came just after the code which thrown exception, right? That's why it did not, because at line number 10 the code got terminated and you cached it in line number 14. That will come. That came, right? Now suppose if the code does not give exception, then what will happen? Go back to your class. So comment line number 11 or put divide 9 by 3. Put it 9 by 3. This is a valid scenario. Save it. Now execute it. Now you can see your code of line number 12 got executed, right? Because it did not get terminated. It was a valid scenario, right? But as it did not throw any exception, so it did not get caught. So your code inside your cache block did not come, right? Because there was no exception. Only in case of exception, the code inside cache block will be executed. And that too, you can put multiple cache blocks. There are chances that currently you are getting maths exception, but there are chances that you get some other exception. So based on the exception, you can handle it using multiple cache blocks. Okay. So if you do not get any exception, your cache block will not get executed. This much is clear with everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now there are scenarios that whether the exception is coming or not, we want to execute some piece of code. So for that, there is something called as finally. So go to your class. And after catch block is completed, put finally. Finally block. curly bracket. Yeah, this is inside finally whatever you want to put, this system.debug. Execute it. You saw that, right? Now put divide by 0 1 code, then see whether it gets executed or not. Now cache block got executed as well as finally block, because finally will always get executed whether there is exception or not. Okay, so if you want to have anything like in Java, when you do anything like establishing database connection, so in finally you write the code to remove the connection. Something like that can be used in finally block, because it will execute whether there is any exception or not. Now spend some time, check exception handling, trial, and you can try it out and let me know if you face any difficulty. Because I know it's a going a little complex way. Okay, so you can try it. So guys, any doubt, any queries so far?
No.
Okay. What about others? Any doubt, any query?
No, sir.
Nothing so far. Thanks, Shan.
Okay, then just try it out and let me know if you face any difficulty. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank
In
you.
later classes, we'll see how we can go, and you can just search what is trigger. Okay, Google about triggers, what trigger is for the next class, and in next class we'll go and write a trigger. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.